You just gotta learn to relax and control yourself.
It was the scene that made a producer rich, but the actress who starred in it hated it. Jacqueline Bisset's infamous wet t-shirt moment in The Deep became one of the most talked about moments in cinema history. But how did this single shot overshadow everything else about the film? And what was it about The Deep that made it one of the biggest box office hits of 1977? Let's dive in. The Deep was based on Peter Benchley's 1976 novel of the same name, written hot on the heels of his massive success with Jaws. Columbia Pictures saw the potential for another underwater blockbuster and acquired the rights to the book before it was even published. Benchley himself was brought on to write the initial screenplay, though his work would later be revised by Tracy Keenan Wynn and Tom Mankiewicz. The studio hoped to capture lightning in a bottle again by blending adventure, suspense, and underwater action, but this time with a different kind of threat, one that involved sunken treasure, deep-sea diving, and a deadly criminal underworld. The film follows a young couple, David Sanders, played by Nick Nolte, and Gail Burke, played by Jacqueline Bisset, who are vacationing in Bermuda. Their diving adventure leads them to a remarkable discovery: an ampule of morphine from a sunken World War II ship, the Goliath, along with a mysterious gold medallion. Their find quickly attracts the attention of Henri Cloche, played by Louis Gossett Jr., a ruthless drug kingpin who wants to recover the ampules for their street value. As the couple is terrorized by Cloche's men, they seek help from local treasure hunter and marine expert Romer Treese, played by Robert Shaw, a grizzled veteran with a wealth of knowledge about the ocean and its buried secrets. Treese recognizes that the Goliath is sitting atop a much older wreck, one containing valuable Spanish treasure. A race ensues between Cloche and Treese's team, with both sides battling the elements, underwater hazards, and each other in a high-stakes fight for control over the shipwreck's bounty. Filming The Deep was an ambitious undertaking, requiring months of underwater shooting in real locations and carefully constructed artificial sets. The production team traveled to Black Rock Point, Salt Island, and Peter Island in the British Virgin Islands, where they filmed near the actual wreckage of the RMS Rhone. Other sequences were shot at the Great Barrier Reef in Australia, further adding to the film's authenticity. Director Peter Yates wanted as much realism as possible, which meant that lead actors Nick Nolte, Jacqueline Bisset, Robert Shaw, and even Louis Gossett Jr. had to learn how to scuba dive. This was no easy task, as most of the cast had little to no prior diving experience. Bisset, in particular, was initially terrified of the water, but built up enough confidence to dive as deep as 60 feet by the time filming concluded. The production logged an astonishing 8,895 dives, with a total of 10,870 person-hours spent underwater. The world's largest underwater set was constructed in Bermuda to accommodate scenes that needed to be carefully choreographed for safety reasons. The set was an artificial 33-foot deep pool filled with millions of gallons of seawater, and it was specifically designed to eliminate the need for constant decompression. However, even with these precautions, filming in such conditions was physically and mentally exhausting for the cast and crew. The making of The Deep wasn't just challenging because of the water, it also had its fair share of behind-the-scenes drama. Initially, director Peter Yates wasn't sold on casting Nick Nolte in the lead role, and Nolte himself wasn't particularly interested in the part. Columbia Pictures executives were hesitant as well, believing he lacked the star power to carry a major motion picture. However, producer Peter Guber was determined to cast him, and after a tense meeting, Yates warmed up to the idea and decided that Nolte was the right man for the job. Another challenge arose between the film's two leads, as Jacqueline Bisset and Nick Nolte reportedly did not get along at first. Their on-set chemistry was strained, making it difficult to shoot their romantic scenes. However, as filming progressed, Their relationship took an unexpected turn, and they developed a real-life romance that lasted for most of the production. This new dynamic helped improve their on-screen chemistry, and Yates believed it made their performances more believable. Meanwhile, Robert Shaw, fresh off his iconic role as Quint in Jaws, was a force to be reckoned with. While he brought experience and gravitas to the film, he was also known for his heavy drinking. One infamous story from the set involved Shaw getting so drunk one evening that he attempted to walk across a wooden plank leading to a boat, only to stumble, fall into the water, and then escape in a dinghy before being retrieved by Nolte. Now, let's talk about the elephant in the room, the infamous wet t-shirt scene. Early in the film, Bisset's character Gail is diving in the crystal clear waters of Bermuda, wearing a thin white t-shirt over her bikini. As she emerges from the water, the fabric clings to her body, creating an image that would go down in Hollywood history. The moment became the defining visual of the deep, even more so than the treasure hunting, the action sequences, or the dramatic underwater showdowns. Producer Peter Guber was quick to recognize the marketing potential of this scene. The studio pushed the image in magazine ads, posters, and even Playboy and Penthouse articles. Bisset, however, was furious. She felt exploited as the film's marketing reduced her role to nothing more than eye candy. She later admitted in interviews that she regretted how the film was promoted and felt that it distracted from her actual performance. When she found out Columbia Pictures intended to release a standalone poster of the image, she threatened legal action, forcing the studio to abandon the idea. While the scene certainly contributed to the film's success, it also created lasting frustration for Bisset, who wanted to be taken seriously as an actress rather than a sex symbol. Nevertheless, the controversy only added to the buzz surrounding the film, helping it become one of the highest-grossing movies of the year. When The Deep was released in 1977, it opened to impressive box office numbers. It grossed over $8 million in its first weekend, breaking records previously set by Jaws. By the end of its theatrical run, it had earned over $100 million worldwide, making it one of the top-grossing films of the year. Critically, however, reactions were mixed. Some praised the film for its breathtaking underwater cinematography and thrilling adventure sequences, while others felt the story was thin and meandering. Despite these mixed reviews, The Deep has endured as a cult classic, remembered for its stunning cinematography, technical achievements, and of course that controversial scene. The movie also paved the way for future underwater thrillers like Into the Blue, 2005, which borrowed many of its elements. Now it's time to hear from you. Do you think The Deep would have been as successful without its infamous marketing? Was Jacqueline Bisset right to be upset about how the film was promoted? Let us know in the comments below.